favorite Spotify playlist. You can explore uplifting INC original music in a variety of styles and genres. Share your INC original music playlist to your friends. It's now even easier to share our faith and much easier to uplift ourselves and others through Christian music. INC original music now available on Spotify.
Don't underestimate
the power
of a single
conversation.
It could change your whole life.
INCRadio Chatline.
conversations that matter.
Hello, everyone. Good. It's good to see you all again for another episode of INCRadio Challenge. And actually, this is I think this is our last episode for the year. Yeah, there's no other Fridays coming after this for the year 2025. Yeah, so we want to end the year off with, I would say, kind of like like one of those topics that make you think. So joining me here is Tony, one of like my friend here joining today, talking about there she is. You might have seen her earlier before before it started. You might have seen her earlier, but yes. So we're gonna talking about pointing out, like the good when you see it. Like what do you mean by what do we mean by pointing out the good when we see it? Like you see some one doing good things and then you point it out. Like for me, I like it when someone notices it. So I guess just to start this off, and hopefully this is not like too deep like right away. It's like uh what's like for you, like what's kind of like the good that you point out, Tony? Does that have to be like something big or elaborate? It's like when someone like prepares like a surprise birthday party for you.
for me to notice things or
Yeah.
just
Yeah, for you to notice it.
no, I'm really super simple. I get triggered up by conversations. Like I can have a good conversation with my friend, not even like a long one. It could be 5 minutes about nothing, and that could make my day. Or even just a smile from a stranger, or a compliment, like through the drive-through, or somebody just comments something, like stuff like that. Really simple. This kind of makes my day. I'm not always. I will say, it's usually stuff that surprises me. But other stuff, I think that takes more effort to notice is maybe stuff from people that I'm close to. The stuff that you're kind of like used to it a little bit, as opposed to where if it's something out of the ordinary, you're kind of like, oh, that's different. That's nice, And so I feel like that's easier to notice versus, if it's something that, let's say us as friends, like if you were to, send me a random like nice message, like you do that like all the time. So like being able to kind of make an effort to say that I'm paying attention, like like to pay attention still to the stuff that's normal. Or like a good example is my mom. Like she always makes a point to, if she's getting food, she'll set some food aside for me as well, or preparing something because I forgot without me having to ask. Like I don't always verbalize it because it's something that she does all the time, but it's when I actually can sit back and be like, oh yeah, she does a lot of that stuff for me. Being able to think of the stuff that's not just surprising too. So it's both. I feel like the stuff that's easier for me to notice is the stuff that surprises you, where you don't expect it. But then I also notice the other stuff. It just takes me more effort sometimes to remember, I guess.
I'm with you there, where it's like if it's something that I'm used to, it's something that I like, kind of like, like it's the usual. Like let's say, like when we were younger, like when your parents would help you prepare your bag for for the next school day. And that's like kind of like one of those things where you kind of take it for granted, right? Because I mean, you take it for granted because you're used to it. Like you don't always notice it, like you said. You don't always notice it. It's like it's like when you have that moment to kind of like sit back, or I would say when you don't experience it anymore, right? Let's say you've grown up. Of course, you don't go to school anymore. You're for those of you who are like living, like living away from your parents now. It's like you kind of don't realize how much you appreciated like when they cook you breakfast, right? Until you're until they're not there to cook you breakfast anymore. And like,
You have to
wow,
cook your
like
own.
I really, yeah,
Try to make it. And
yeah,
try to make
you
it
have to
off
cook
your
your own
cereal.
breakfast now.
Or you can cook your own breakfast, like eating your own cereal or protein bar or whatever it is that you can manage, like
Yeah,
attempting to cook your own breakfast and then failing terribly. Just burnt toast, burnt everything. Hopefully
yeah,
not, but
that's like kind of like the thing with like the surprises, they're easier to notice, right? They're easier to notice because, like, again, it's out of the ordinary, it's out of your norm, right? You're not used to this. Like, let's say you're not even just when you're having a bad day, just like let's say it's just like a normal day for you, and someone just like one of your friends just sends you like a really nice text, and you're like like even if it's like just something like, I hope you're having a good day today, even something like that. uh that's kind of like out of the norm, like for you, that kind of act of kindness is easier to notice. But in
I
like
think
for me,
it's like the effort,
hmm
right? Like I think it's because it's the effort, right? You're going
hmm
out of you see someone going out of their way a little bit.
yeah, yeah, that's the part that you appreciate about it, right? It's like they went out of their way, out of their like normal routine to reach out to, you know like to do something nice for you today. And it's the thought of like, and it's the thought of that they're doing something for you out of like the kindness of their heart, right? Because they want to they text you, I hope you're having a good day, because they want you to have a good day. It's like sort of, but for me, like I said, it's like it's easier to notice the surprises, the out of the norm stuff. That's easier to notice. But like in the long run, I feel like I appreciate like the ones that we don't notice always because they're normal. Because you like the thing with those things, like what I said, it's like that you take for granted is you don't notice how much it helped you, or it helped your day to day, or how much it made it a lot easier. It made your day a lot easier when someone was doing that for you, right?
Yeah. Just because you get used to it, I think is what it is, right? Like you once it becomes normal, it's hard to notice. We tend to notice stuff that's out of the ordinary, but
Mm-hmm.
stuff that is becomes consistent for you, or um part of your routine. It's almost kind of like when you're surrounded by a bunch of noise. Let's say you're in a coffee shop and then you just arrived at the coffee shop, but then after a while you kind of get used to the sound and everything, and you're like focused on what you're doing. It's almost kind of like that, where you don't um after a while, like there's a like,
Mm-hmm.
or when you've eaten the same dish for so long, right? Like you're just used to that so much that there's no, like, the novelty is gone, so it doesn't take you out of your present moment as a surprise might. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
I think, that's where gratitude kind of comes in, as a healthy, helpful tool, because it gets you to really like sit down and think, as opposed to just expecting to have these things to notice all the time because it surprises you. Whereas gratitude, it's the other way of you making an effort to remember, like, oh yeah, they did do this for me. Oh yeah, they, you know, paying attention to all these nice things that did happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the what you said about like like the surprise being kind of like the novelty of it. It's like what makes you appreciate it. But like the like, and I just want to say like it's the consistency of like someone who like always does for things for you, like like not even, I would say not even every day, just consistently enough that it's become the norm for you. It doesn't have to be every day. Just consistent enough that they do it, that you kind of forget about it sometimes. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like for me, it's that consistency that makes me kind of like appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff that's easy to notice, then there's stuff where like I would say I appreciate it more because of like how consistent they are. Even if I
That's
forget
true.
to say
I didn't
thank
think about
you.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even if you forget to acknowledge it, you forget to say thank you, like they still consistently do it for you. Because and like I'm talking from experience here, like the friends who always send me memes, even though I don't always get to reply to them, and I know I have like
Yeah.
yeah, I was
I have
sorry,
friendships that survive solely on memes. Okay. I don't know how we do it. I have friends, shout out to my friends in Italy and in Africa. Our literal relationship is just memes on reels on social media. And we just know what each other, like what makes each other laugh and what the other enjoys. So it's kind of crazy how that happens, right? Because like I said, you get used to this thing with somebody else and what you kind of establish, I guess, between the two
hmm
of you. And you're grateful that they can even do just that. Like even just maintaining that between you is really nice. So shout out to my friends who don't get tired of of my reels and who react to them.
I'll say
Thanks for paying attention.
I'm saying this because like I'm pointing this out because hopefully they're in our live chat, they're listening. Uh, like I'm saying this because I know I have 30 plus unread messages. That's all memes that I have not replied to. I will get to them. I will get to them eventually. Don't worry about that. I just haven't had the time to sit down and watch 30 plus memes in a row. But
Yeah.
I will get to that. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it because they send me memes every day. Like every
Hmm.
day, like I'll see the notification and I feel bad because like I keep putting it off because they're piling up, and I keep putting it off because I'm like I'll get to it later. I'll get to it later, and I never get to it. But I will get to it eventually. But like those are kind of like the small things that we notice, right? Because like when we've been talking about, it's like those good deeds to be like for good deeds to be noticeable. They don't have to be like they don't have to be like a grand surprise, like a grand gesture, like buying someone a car or a house. It doesn't have to be something like that, or it doesn't even have to be something that's very what's like the word for it, like they're so very like well thought out, like like they give you like a very specific gift because they were like, oh, I remember when you talked about this when we first met this day. This one, you know?
Yeah, I know that's not everybody's strength in terms of memory. I know
Mhm.
memory can be hard, or just remembering people's favorite colors sometimes can be a challenge. But when they do remember those, and sometimes they're the most randomest details, like how do you remember what kind of tea I like? Like how did you remember that? Or like how did you? I guess maybe it's because something like clicked for them. They're like, oh, like that's interesting. Maybe like oh, she really likes. Or maybe it's because you just talk about it all the time. Like there's a running joke for the longest time that my comfort food was cereal, and
Mhm.
I just always had gifts that had to do with cereal. Like after that, it just became this thing. So it's simple stuff like that. Simple stuff like that is always just
Mhm.
anytime people make an effort to remember you, or anytime people make an effort to show you that they care in any ways, it always makes me feel good. Um,
Mhm.
I will say that sometimes the mood can kind of affect how well you do that.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm in a not so good mood, sometimes it can be harder for gratefulness to be that immediate. But I think that's all the more the time to ground yourself in gratitude, because um, it's kind of easy to forget the details when you're in the down and out a little bit.
Mhm. Actually, speaking of like being on like the down and out of things, it's like like for me, something that like makes me like really grateful is like when someone notices that I'm in the down and out, even when I don't say something, and it's like I will admit most times it's obvious on my face if I'm not having a good time. It's obvious. There are times where like I know I'm able to like hide it pretty well, but like the friends who still notice it, like, and the funniest things I hear is like like, well, you weren't eating this food which I know is your favorite, so like what's up with that? Or like, things like that, or it's like when they say like something was off with like your laugh, so like what's like what's going on with you, like when they're able to know that, like it does make me feel, and uh, something that I also appreciate, I just remember this, is like when they try to fix things. Like when they try to fix it. Like it's always like it's not that I want them to fix it. And most times, like when you're venting to someone, it's not because you want them to fix your problem. But something that I'm trying to do more now is appreciate the effort for it. Like I appreciate the effort for them trying to resolve this problem, because like when you think about it from like their perspective, it's like they don't want to see you sad, so their perspective is like they're trying to uh they're just trying to make it so that you don't have to worry about this anymore. But like for me, the thing that I tell them is like, yeah, I appreciate, I just appreciate the effort, but you don't have to fix this for me, like this is something uh I'll be able to solve eventually. Like the answer for this problem will come eventually. It's not like, and that's kind of like speaking on like what we were talking about earlier, like where like it doesn't have to be like a grand gesture,
Mm-hmm.
because even the small things, it's not to fix it. It's just being kind to me at that moment. Like that's already something that I appreciate. It's already something that kind of give me the strength to keep going. You know?
Something else, another way of a phrase that I've heard really commonly now on social media is like sitting in the mud with somebody,
Mm,
like not which is this the situation that you cited is definitely me. I am definitely the person that's like, we got to fix this now, like we gotta get through this now, because I don't want to see you in pain. Like this is hard for me to see you in that pain, so we're gonna fix it right now. I think when you just care about a person, you just automatically get into that mode of like, no, we're not having this, we're not having you be in pain, let's but it's so different to have somebody to be able to give you that space
mm,
and just kind of be there with you, like while you're going through it, and not imposing anything else, just being there to listen. And I've heard that so commonly with people that I've talked to nowadays. A lot of the time they're just looking for somebody to listen, to just kind of um let them know that they're not crazy. Let them know that like that you know our
mm,
feelings are not the truth all the time, right? Like we can't live our lives, or let our lives be led by the things that we feel. But
yeah.
these are things that do happen to us internally that we kind of have to work through sometimes when it comes to our feelings and emotions. And it can help to be able to have somebody to be like, yeah, I could totally see why you feel that way, or I totally get where you're coming from. That would frustrate me too, or that would totally upset me. It's
Mm,
nice to hear that sometimes, because I think we're looking for validation, not whether we're right or that we're wrong, but that what we're feeling is normal. Because
mhm,
we don't like feeling like, is there something wrong with me? Is there, like something as simple as that. I think that those reassurances that we can give people, um, especially when the tougher moments, like I know we've been talking about um, like those situations you mentioned before, um,
mhm,
on the lighter side, but like let's say somebody's like really going through, like let's say they just failed a class, or they got passed up on the promotion that they were really, really fighting for,
Mm.
and those are tough moments. It's it's not easy to kind of go through that kind of stuff um right away. Like they're not something that you can kind of be like, okay, like I'm fine, it's gonna be fine. Like you you recognize in that moment, like you get through in your head, and all these things, right? And it's not, especially us as Christians, we hold on to the hope that things are going to be okay.
Mhm.
um and we hold on to that, but it's that duality of like, this still sucks. Like
Yeah.
right now, like
Like when you
it's
think about
sucking
it,
out, but
right?
I know it's gonna be okay. Yeah,
Those careers where you have to take like an exam, like
yeah.
being like law school, I know they have to take like a bar exam, right?
Oh yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
failing that, if you fail that for this year, I think you have to take it next year, right?
I Don't quote me. I
But
have
I
I'm
think that's
yeah.
it.
It's
But if
hard.
you
I just
think
know it's
about
hard.
it, yeah. But if you
Yeah.
think about it, like even if they can retake it the next year or in 6 months or whatever, it's like that's still a year or 6 months that they have to wait, right? Especially if
Yeah.
someone's livelihood
The waiting.
depends on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or if they're just being supported by their parents, right? Like the kind of like mental pressure that has to
Yeah.
like to fail. It's like I might not understand it, but like knowing having that kind of context in my mind that like this is like a very big thing for them. Like
Mm-hmm.
it gives me at least a sort of way to understand just how deep this goes for them. That it's not something, like I shouldn't go, I shouldn't attack this with my own pride. Like, sure, I'll be able to solve this problem for them because I won't be able to. I
Yeah.
can't make it so that they can retake it right away. I can't make it so that they
Yeah.
didn't fail the test. Like there are things I can do. I can help them prepare for it for the next time. Can if I'm not very good at studying, I can help them. I can cheer them up. The way that I can. It's like those little things that that we can do uh for them. Like what I said earlier. It's like you don't have to fix it, right? You don't have to fix their
Mm-hmm.
problems for them. It's like what you said. You just sit in the mud with them. Realize that they're gonna have to go through this, and the sometimes the best thing that you can do for that is just like be there for them while they're going through it. Send them memes every day or something.
Well, what I'll say is that what I've learned a lot, not just this year, but probably the last few years, is that I express love the way that I would want it,
Mhm.
but I'm learning also how to express love in the way that other people will receive it and know that they feel loved by me, if that makes sense. Like
Mhm.
being able to adjust and revisit and rework and communicating through those things and trying to navigate the situation, like, oh, that didn't work for you, so sorry. I didn't know. That's just something that I just do because I thought that that would make you feel better, but that is not working, so let's try to rework it, like even with our
Mhm.
friendship, I feel like we've gone through a lot of moments of that, like trying to
Mhm.
um not just like what you said, like being present for each other, but also actively working towards something, and working together in our different, connections with everybody, paying attention. A lot goes into it, but I feel like that's the most that you can do, is just the going back to what we started with, is that top level of paying attention, like what is working, what isn't working, like in your dynamic, and what can you see that you can improve on, like doing better. Or even what I love about the perspective that you've shared this evening is that you're always in the mindset of, you're thinking good intention out of the other person, even if it may not have been what you wanted in that moment. because I'm definitely the solver person. So thank you for being for being the person to say like, I don't appreciate the solution right now, but thank you for not wanting me to be in pain. Like that perspective alone, I feel is something that we lack sometimes because we can be so quick to think that, oh, this person is doing this because label it X, Y, and Z. It's like, I don't know, maybe they're doing that because that's the only way they think that they can love you, or that's the only way that they can think that they can help you. And
I kind of
you know what I
model it
mean?
though with like what you were saying, that you're with what you're trying to do with like trying to show them love the way that the way like by trying it out, seeing how this person wants to be loved, right? It's like it's sort of that, like where you're trying to understand and trying to show them like love in the way that they would get it. Like it's also, like it's also for me, it's like trying to understand the attempt of like them trying to adapt.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the top level of it is really noticing. It's
Mm,
really noticing and paying attention and being aware of each other. Like me thinking me thinking better of your intentions as opposed to assuming the worst, even if
mm,
sometimes like I might not receive it. Even like with parents, sometimes I know there's some parents that can come off like harsh in the way that they say things, and it's like it's not always, it's culture.
mm.
People grow up differently, people grow
Yeah.
up in a lot of different dynamics, and we all go through different experiences, and everybody is like,
Mm,
you know grows up with different things. So being able to constantly like adjust and being able to see, um and being flexible, I think in not in the way that you compromise your principles. Like
mhm,
that's not the same as, you know me trying to adjust to like, oh, EJ doesn't like when I come in with solutions. Like maybe I'll just make jokes, or maybe he doesn't like the apple pie that I've been sending him every time he said. Maybe I should get him something else. Like a lot of it's just communication and
mhm,
like, I guess, just presence. Like going back to just life in general, pointing out the good when you see it. Like,
mhm,
where's your attention at? Like, what are you paying attention to? Like, are you in the mind to be able to see these things even when the situation is difficult, even when you know um it may be harder to feel grateful for things? Like, can you still
mhm,
see like the good out of that situation? You might not be able to see it right away, but like, can you make an effort to still do that? Like, yeah, you failed, but what is the thing that you learned from that situation? Can you get to that mindset? If it's not today, like, can you get there eventually, so
mhm.
that you're not just stuck in, oh, this is like terrible, or oh, this isn't what I wanted, or oh, this is XYZ, whatever.
It's like it's not even, like again, it's not even just in the action of others, but like also noticing that there is in your life. Because there's a lot of good there too. There's good people who make sure to check up on you. And even if the thing is, even if they don't check up on you, like if like, I always think of that saying, like if only you know how many people cared about you, you'd be surprised. And I think that's true for me. Like there's people who care about me that I don't even like. I didn't even know that they cared that much about me. So I do like I do hope that with this topic we've been able to kind of open your eyes a little bit on that, kind of like that regard, made you think about it. If it's something that you come back later on to, and uh like think about the things in your in your own life about like what are the good that I did, like I didn't notice. So uh again, it's been nice to have like have this conversation with you, Tony, with our there in our live chat. Thank you for tuning in with us, and we do hope that for this entire year, Chatline has been one of those shows that has proven of value to you. We hope to see you again next year. Well, not really next year, but like next week. It's gonna be next week. So we do hope to
Next
see you
year. Yeah,
again.
next year. That's
Yeah.
right. Next year.
And we do hope that you'll join us again for another year in INC Radio. chat line. And if you have, if you have ideas for like topics that you want to discuss, just put them there in our live chat or in the comment section, and we'll get to that eventually. We'll get to that eventually. But I do hope you have a great Friday, and of course, have a great New Year's as well. We'll see you guys again next week. Goodbye, everyone.